this video is about. The single mom arrived at the coffee shop, and a rich stranger returned her lost scarf. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The sound of the bell above the door chimed softly as Claire pushed it open, a gust of chilly autumn air following her inside the warm embrace of Mocha Haven. The rich aroma of fresh coffee beans enveloped her like a familiar blanket, an inviting contrast to the brisk October day outside. Claire was a whirlwind of activity, a single mother juggling the chaos of work and parenting. Her long chestnut hair was pulled back in a messy bun, some strands rebelliously escaping their confines. She wore a denim jacket over a faded red sweater and jeans that had seen better days. She quickly brushed off the chill from her cheeks, reminding herself that a hot cup of coffee was a small luxury she could afford today. As she stood in line, her mind raced with thoughts of her 5-year-old son, Noah, who was likely drawing wildly imaginative monsters in their living room, while she sought a moment of solace. Claire had been navigating the trenches of motherhood alone since her husband left 2 years ago, and she often found herself caught in the relentless cycle of work, parenting, and lingering loneliness. After placing her order, Claire turned around to scan the cozy shop for a seat. It was bustling, filled with the hum of conversation and the whir of espresso machines. She spotted an empty table tucked away in the corner and made her way toward it. Just as she settled in, adjusting her scarf, an old and slightly frayed piece she rarely took off, the door swung open once more, and in walked a figure that made her pause. He was tall, effortlessly handsome, with tousled dark hair and an aura of confidence that seemed to brighten the room. Dressed in a tailored navy coat and designer jeans, he exuded an air of affluence that felt out of place in her world. Claire quickly glanced away, her heart inexplicably fluttering as she caught a glimpse of his striking green eyes scanning the room before landing on her table. "Sorry," he said, his voice smooth like the rich mocha she had just ordered. "I didn't mean to stare. Your scarf caught my attention. It's beautiful." She could feel a blush creeping up her neck. "Thank you," Claire replied, attempting to keep her composure. "It's one of my favorites." "I'm not sure if beautiful is the right word, though." "Why not? It has character just like you," he said, flashing a smile that made her stomach flip unexpectedly. Claire felt a mix of embarrassment and intrigue. Here was this charming stranger, clearly from a different world, yet the compliment felt genuine. "I'm just a single mom trying to get through my day," she replied, her modesty surfacing. "Single mother or not, everyone deserves a moment to enjoy life. You know, a coffee shop can be a refuge of sorts," he said, leaning against the table with an ease that suggested he was used to getting his way. Just then, a barista called out her name, pulling her momentary daze back to reality. She stood up, grateful for the distraction. "Excuse me, let me just grab that." As Claire moved to the counter, she couldn't shake the feeling of his gaze lingering on her. When she returned to her table, she found him still there, casually sipping coffee from a pristine white cup. "Are you always this charming, or do you save it for special occasions?" she teased, a playful smile creeping onto her lips. "Only when I'm lucky enough to meet someone intriguing," he replied, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "I'm Jake, by the way." "Claire," she said, surprised by the warmth of her own smile. They exchanged a moment, the air thick with an unspoken connection that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. "Do you come here often?" he asked, his tone light but curious, as though he were genuinely interested in her life. "Not really. I'm usually too busy chasing after my son or working," she admitted, her heart thumping as she wondered how he would react to the mention of Noah. "Ah, the joys of responsibilities. I get it," he replied. "I work in finance, so I know a thing or two about juggling priorities." "Finance?" Claire raised an eyebrow. "Does that mean you're one of the people who make the world go round, or one of the reasons it spins off its axis?" He laughed, a rich, genuine sound that made her want to laugh along, to be drawn into his world, if only for a moment. "A little bit of both, I suppose. But I prefer to think I'm on the side of good," he said, his expression turning more introspective. Claire felt her heart soften. Perhaps he was more than just a handsome stranger. There was depth to him that piqued her interest. So, how does a finance guy end up in a coffee shop on a Tuesday afternoon? Oh, I like to escape the office occasionally. You know, find inspiration in the little things, he mused, his gaze falling to the table as if he were contemplating the weight of his own words. And what inspires you? She prodded, her curiosity getting the better of her. People, mostly, he replied. I like to observe. You find stories hidden in their interactions, moments that often go unnoticed. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, a dance of words that felt natural yet charged with a tension that neither of them could ignore. Claire found herself laughing at his witty remarks and opening up about her life, her heart racing with each passing moment. I'm just trying to figure it all out, you know, she confessed, her voice softening as she shared snippets of her life as a mother. Sometimes it feels like I'm just surviving, not really living. Jake's expression shifted, a glimmer of understanding filling his eyes. It's a tough balance being a parent. But don't underestimate your strength, Claire. You're doing an incredible job. The sincerity in his voice made her chest tighten. For a fleeting moment, Claire allowed herself to envision what it would be like to be seen, truly seen, by someone. The wall she had built around her heart began to tremble, and she quickly caught herself, reminding herself of her reality. She was a single mom with responsibilities, not a woman searching for romance. Thank you, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. That means a lot. Just as the moment deepened, a shrill ring broke through, startling both of them. Claire's phone vibrated on the table, and she glanced down to see a text from the babysitter. Ugh, it's my sitter, she said with an apologetic smile, tapping on her screen. I have to check in on Noah. Of course, Jake said, but the slight tension in his voice was palpable. Family first, always. She could sense an undercurrent of disappointment, and it made her heart ache. Why did it feel so important to keep him in this moment? Yet, the reality of her life loomed large, a reminder that she couldn't just float away with a stranger, no matter how captivating he was. As she stood up to leave, Claire wrapped her scarf tightly around her neck, a sudden chill passing through her. It was really nice meeting you, Jake. Maybe I'll see you around? Definitely. I'll be here, he said, his eyes lingering on her, a hint of hopefulness mixed with something deeper, almost yearning. As she stepped out into the crisp air, her mind swirled with thoughts of him, their connection a thread that tugged at her heart. Amidst the chaos of motherhood and the shadows of her past, she felt a flicker of something she hadn't felt in a long time, possibility. Unbeknownst to Claire, as she walked away, Jake reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a beautifully embroidered scarf, the one she had accidentally left behind when she first entered the coffee shop. He studied it for a moment, a small smile playing on his lips as he felt the fabric. Soft, warm, just like her. He made a decision then. He would return this to her, and in doing so, perhaps weave their stories together, if only just a little more. Claire awoke the next morning to the soft sounds of Noah chattering animatedly in the living room, his little fingers likely tracing the edges of his latest masterpiece. With a smile tugging at her lips, she padded into the room, the remnants of her encounter with Jake still vivid in her mind. Mom, look what I drew, Noah exclaimed, his face glowing with pride. He held up a crayon drawing of a monster with 3 eyes, a big toothy grin, and a rainbow tail. Claire knelt beside him, her heart swelling. That's amazing, sweetheart. I love how creative you are, she said, ruffling his tousled hair. Thanks. Can I show it to my friends at school today? He asked, bouncing with excitement. Of course, Claire replied, feeling warmth spread through her. Moments like this made her realize how blessed she was, even amidst the challenges of single parenthood. As she prepared breakfast, however, her thoughts drifted back to Jake. Their conversation had felt so easy, so right, yet a small voice in the back of her head cautioned her against getting too involved. He was charming, successful, and undoubtedly surrounded by women who were better suited for him. The nagging insecurity settled in her chest, tightening as she glanced at her reflection in the kitchen window. Could she ever deserve someone like him? After getting Noah off to school, Claire found herself wandering back to Mocha Haven, a magnetic pull drawing her toward the cozy shop. Maybe a caffeine fix would help clear her thoughts. The autumn leaves danced in the wind as she approached, her heart fluttering with anticipation, mixed with the familiar flicker of doubt. Stepping inside, the warmth enveloped her once more, and the barista greeted her with a bright smile. The usual. "Yes, please," Claire replied, though her gaze instinctively scanned the shop for a familiar face. Just as she settled into a corner table with her coffee, a figure entered. Tall, handsome, and unmistakably Jake. He spotted her immediately, a wide grin spreading across his face, his eyes lighting up as he made his way toward her. "Claire," he said, his voice wrapping around her like a hug. "What a pleasant surprise." "Hey, I was just," she faltered, surprised at how quickly her heart raced. I was just getting some coffee. Mind if I join you?" Jake asked, his expression sincere. "Not at all," she replied, gesturing to the seat across from her. As he sat down, Claire couldn't ignore the rush of energy between them. "I almost didn't think I'd see you again," he admitted, leaning forward slightly, his green eyes searching hers. "I was hoping to return something." Claire raised an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. "What do you mean?" He pulled her scarf from his coat pocket, the fabric vibrant and soft. "You left this yesterday. I knew it must have meant something to you." A rush of warmth filled her. "Oh, thank you. I thought I lost it for good," she said, feeling a mixture of gratitude and something deeper. "Beautiful scarf for a beautiful woman," he said, his voice low, sending a shiver of pleasant tension down her spine. "Flattery will get you everywhere, Jake," Claire joked, but her heart raced at the realization that his compliments affected her more than they should. He chuckled, and for a moment they simply stared at one another, the world around them fading as the air thickened with an unspoken connection. "How's Noah?" Jake asked, breaking the spell. "Busy with school and art projects as usual," she replied, her heart swelling as she spoke of her son. "He's quite the little artist." "That's wonderful. Kids have such a unique perspective on the world," he said, his eyes thoughtful. "I admire that." "Do you?" Claire asked, intrigued. "I thought finance guys were all about numbers and profits." Jake laughed, a rich sound that danced through the air. "Well, there's more to me than spreadsheets. I think creativity is essential in any field, even mine." Just then, a couple entered the cafe, and Claire felt an unexpected pang of jealousy as she watched them banter playfully. A couple so effortlessly connected. She quickly averted her gaze back to Jake, who seemed not to notice. "Did you always want to work in finance?" she asked, redirecting her thoughts. He shrugged, his expression growing serious. "Not really. I stumbled into it after college. It was more about practicality than passion, you know. What about you? Did you always want to be a mother?" A weight settled in her chest. "I didn't plan to be a single mother, that's for sure," she admitted, her voice softening. "But Noah's the best part of my life." She could see the flicker of empathy in his gaze. "I can tell. You're doing an incredible job, Claire." His sincerity struck a chord within her, and she felt a blush creeping up her cheeks. "Thank you. But it's a struggle," she replied, her heart racing. "Sometimes I feel like I'm failing at everything." "Not at all. You're here, and that speaks volumes. It's easy to get caught up in our own insecurities," he said, leaning closer, his intensity disarming her. A silence hung between them, thick and laden with tension. Claire felt herself drawn to him, wishing for just a moment to escape the burdens on her shoulders. "What about you? Do you have a life outside of work?" Jake sighed, a flicker of vulnerability crossing his features. "Not much, honestly. I've been so focused on my career that I've neglected personal relationships. It's a bit lonely, to be honest." Her heart ached at his admission. It can be tough to find a balance. I know that feeling all too well, she said softly, feeling the weight of their shared experiences. I'd like to change that. You know, he said, his voice low. I'm interested in getting to know you better, Claire. The heat between them intensified, and Claire felt the thrill of possibility mixed with fear. But how can that work? I'm a single mom with responsibilities, she murmured, trying to find her footing amidst the tangled emotions. Jake's gaze remained steady, unwavering. I understand that, and I respect it. I'm just saying I'd like the chance to be a part of your world, whatever that looks like. Her heart fluttered at his words, but doubt crept in. You're a successful guy. You could have anyone you wanted. Why me? Because you're real, Claire. You're strong and passionate. I admire that, he replied, his voice soft yet firm. Claire felt a rush of conflicting emotions. There was a magnetic pull, a chemistry she couldn't ignore. But there was also fear. Fear of getting hurt. Fear of the complexities of her life. I need time to think, she finally said, her voice wavering. Jake nodded, his expression a mixture of understanding and disappointment. Of course, I don't want to rush you, but I hope you'll consider it. Just then, her phone buzzed, pulling her back to reality. It was a text from the babysitter again, and as she read it, the weight of her responsibilities settled heavily on her shoulders. Looks like I need to go, Claire said reluctantly, glancing up at Jake. Noah is home early today. Family first, right? He said, though there was a hint of sadness in his tone that made her heart ache. Yeah, she replied, the tension hanging in the air. I really enjoyed talking with you, Jake. Me too. And don't forget, you have my number. He smiled, a hint of hope flickering in his eyes. As she stood up, wrapping her scarf around her neck, Claire felt a pang of regret. I'll think about what you said. Good. Take your time, he replied, watching her intently, as if memorizing every detail. As she stepped out into the crisp air, her heart raced with conflicting emotions. The door swung shut behind her, but the warmth of their conversation lingered like an echo in her mind. She walked away, feeling both exhilarated and uneasy, unsure of what the future might hold, but hopeful, for the first time in a long time. Claire didn't know what lay ahead, but one thing was certain. She was at a crossroads, and the choices she made next could change everything. The days rolled on, each one blending into the next as Claire became enveloped in the rhythm of motherhood and the hum of her job at the local bakery. She spent her mornings navigating flour and sugar, her afternoons helping Noah with his homework, and her evenings collapsing into bed, exhausted yet fulfilled. Yet, even amidst the comforting chaos of her daily routine, thoughts of Jake lingered like a gentle whisper in her mind. Their conversation at Mocha Haven had ignited something within her, a flicker of connection that she hadn't felt in years. As she kneaded dough one afternoon, flour dust dancing in the sunlight streaming through the window, Claire pondered the possibility of inviting him into her life. He was charming and accomplished, a man who could easily belong to a world far removed from hers. But there was depth in him, an understanding that made her heart race with both excitement and fear. Mom? Can we go to the park today? Noah's voice pulled Claire from her reverie. His big brown eyes sparkled with anticipation, and she felt a smile tug at her lips. Of course, buddy. Just let me finish this batch of cookies, and we can head out, Claire replied, her heart warming at his enthusiasm. Noah danced around the kitchen, rattling on about the imaginary adventures he would have at the park, and Claire felt a rush of love for him. He was her world, her anchor, yet amidst the laughter and play, a small part of her yearned for something more, something she hadn't dared to admit even to herself. After finishing the cookies and packing a small picnic, they set off for the park. The air was crisp, a refreshing reminder that autumn was well underway. As they strolled, Noah chattered about the swings and the slides, while Claire's thoughts drifted to Jake, wondering what he was doing at that very moment. As they reached the park, a sense of freedom washed over her. The laughter of children and the rustle of leaves created a symphony of joy that felt almost intoxicating. She spread a blanket on the grass, and Noah immediately plopped down, reaching for the cookies with eager hands. "Can I have two?" he asked, his eyes wide with hope. Claire chuckled. "One for now, and you can save the other for later." "Deal." "Deal." Noah grinned, biting into the cookie and letting out a satisfied sigh. "These are the best." "Glad you think so," Claire replied, feeling a swell of pride. She watched as he climbed the nearby jungle gym, his laughter ringing out like music. As she relaxed against the blanket, a familiar figure caught her eye, a tall man in a navy coat, his dark hair tousled by the wind. Claire's heart skipped a beat as she recognized Jake walking toward them with a purposeful stride. "Jake!" she called, surprise coloring her voice. He turned, a smile breaking across his face as he approached. "Claire, what a coincidence to find you here." "Yeah, just enjoying some time at the park with my son," she replied, motioning toward Noah, who was now enthusiastically attempting to conquer the climbing wall. "Hey there, little man," Jake called out, and Noah beamed, clearly delighted by the attention. "Hi, you're the coffee guy," Noah exclaimed, scrambling down to run over to them. "Mom told me about you." "Did she? I hope it was all good things," Jake replied, his gaze shifting to Claire, a hint of playful mischief in his eyes. "Only the best," Claire said, feeling a blush creeping into her cheeks. "We were just having a picnic. Would you like to join us?" "I would love to," Jake replied, settling down on the blanket. The three of them fell into an easy rhythm, sharing cookies and laughter. Noah animatedly told tales of his heroic adventures, and Claire felt herself relax in Jake's presence. "Do you have any kids?" Noah asked, looking up at Jake with innocent curiosity. "No, not yet," Jake replied. "But I'm great with kids. Your mom can attest to that." He shot Claire a playful glance, and she felt her heart flutter. "Maybe you could teach me your cool superhero moves," Noah suggested, his eyes sparkling. "Only if you promise not to fly too high," Jake replied, grinning. As they shared stories, Claire found herself captivated by Jake's genuine warmth and the ease with which he interacted with Noah. It was a side of him she hadn't seen before, and it tugged at her heartstrings, making her wonder if there was a place for him in her and Noah's life. But as she watched them, a wave of doubt washed over her. Could she really invite someone into their small, perfectly imperfect world? Was she ready for the potential chaos that could come with opening her heart again? "Claire?" Jake's voice broke through her thoughts, and she looked at him, startled. "Are you all right? You seem a bit distant." "Just thinking," she admitted, trying to push the doubts away. He studied her for a moment, his green eyes searching hers. "You know it's okay to have doubts. Everyone does." The sincerity in his tone made her heart ache. "I just want to make sure Noah is okay with everything," she replied softly, glancing at her son, who was energetically trying to climb a tree. "I think he's doing just fine," Jake assured her, his gaze lingering on Noah. "He adores you, and that's what matters most. Just take your time. I'm here for whatever you need." A warmth bloomed in her chest, and Claire felt a flicker of hope. "Thank you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It means a lot to me." As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the park, Claire felt a sense of tranquility settle over her. Perhaps there was a way to navigate this tangled web of emotions after all. Maybe she could allow herself to explore the connection she had with Jake without losing sight of her responsibilities. After a while, Noah's energy started to wane, and Claire knew it was time to pack up. As they began to gather their things, Jake stood and helped, his easy demeanor making her feel comfortable yet nervous. "Let's do this again sometime," he said, his voice low as he leaned closer to her. Claire's heart raced. "I'd like that. Maybe we can have a play date with Noah and grab coffee afterward," Jake suggested, hope glimmering in his eyes. "Sounds perfect," Claire replied, feeling a smile bloom on her face. As they finished packing, she noticed Noah watching them curiously, his little brow furrowed. "Mom, are you and Jake going to be friends?" he asked, his innocent question hanging in the air. Claire exchanged a glance with Jake, who smiled warmly at her. "I think we'll be good friends," she replied, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside her. "Good. Friends can have fun adventures." Noah cheered, running ahead to race back to the car. As Claire walked beside Jake, an unspoken tension crackled in the air. "He's so full of life," Jake said, glancing over at Noah. "You are doing an amazing job." "Thank you," Claire replied, feeling gratitude wash over her. "I worry sometimes, about being enough." "Just remember it's okay to lean on others too," Jake said softly, his gaze unwavering. "You don't have to do it all alone." Claire nodded, the heaviness of her thoughts momentarily lifted. "You're right. I guess I'm still learning how to balance everything." "I admire your dedication," he said, sincerity in his voice. "It's inspiring." As they reached the car, Claire caught his gaze, the chemistry between them almost palpable. "I'm glad we met, Jake." "Me too," he whispered, leaning slightly closer. In that moment, the world around them faded, and all that existed was the intoxicating pull drawing them together. But then reality intruded, the sound of Noah's laughter breaking the tension. Claire stepped back, suddenly self-conscious. "I'll text you about our next meetup," she said, even though she could feel the flutter of something more lingering in the air. "Looking forward to it," Jake replied, his tone still warm but tinged with a hint of longing. As she got into the car, Claire stole one last glance at Jake, who stood watching her, a mix of hope and uncertainty in his gaze. The choices ahead weighed heavily upon her, but for the first time in a long while, she felt the thrill of possibility, a flicker of something beautiful that could emerge from the tangled threads of her life. As she drove away, the evening sun casting a warm glow on the horizon, Claire knew she was standing at a crossroads. While the path ahead was uncertain, her heart whispered that it was a journey worth taking. The week flew by in a flurry of activity, school pickups, work shifts, and endless playdates. Claire felt like she was living in a whirlwind, and yet, beneath the chaos, the anticipation of seeing Jake again simmered like a pot waiting to boil over. Each day, she replayed their last interaction in her mind, the warmth of his presence lingering like the scent of freshly brewed coffee. On Friday, Claire found herself standing in front of her closet, staring at her reflection in the mirror. She had just put Noah down for the night and finally had a moment to herself. The thought of meeting Jake sent butterflies fluttering wildly in her stomach. What would she wear? She wanted to look nice but not overly dressed. A simple blue sweater paired with her favorite jeans felt just right. Comfortable yet put together. "Okay, Claire. You can do this," she whispered to herself, forcing a smile as she secured a loose strand of hair behind her ear. When she arrived at Mocha Haven, her heart raced with a mix of excitement and nervous energy. The cafe was buzzing with life, the familiar hum of conversations blending with the whir of espresso machines. The bell above the door chimed merrily as she stepped inside, and her gaze immediately fell on Jake, who was already seated at their usual table, a warm smile lighting up his face the moment he saw her. "Hey, you made it!" Jake stood and waved, his eyes sparkling with genuine joy. "Hey," Claire replied, her heart fluttering as she approached him. "Sorry if I'm late. I lost track of time." "No worries. I've been enjoying the atmosphere," he said, pulling out a chair for her. "And this place makes waiting easy." As she settled into the chair, the scent of freshly brewed coffee enveloped her, calming her nerves. "I'm really looking forward to this," Claire admitted, her gaze meeting his. "Me too," Jake said, leaning forward, his green eyes bright. "I've been thinking about our last conversation. I meant what I said about wanting to be part of your world." A warmth spread through her at his sincerity, but a flicker of doubt snaked through her heart. "I appreciate that, but I need to be clear. I'm a single mom and my life revolves around Noah. It's complicated." Jake nodded, his expression earnest. "I get it, Claire. I'm not looking to rush anything. I just want to get to know you and build something real if you're open to it." Her heart swelled at his words. "I want that too, but there's so much to navigate." "Then let's take it slow," Jake suggested, his voice low and reassuring. "We can start by being friends and see where it leads. No pressure." "Okay," Claire replied, relieved yet still apprehensive. "Friends sounds good." As they talked, the conversation flowed like a gentle stream, their laughter mingling with the sounds of the cafe around them. Claire felt herself relax more with each passing moment. Jake had a way of making her feel seen, of drawing her out of her shell. "So, what do you enjoy outside of being a superhero mom?" he asked, his eyes glimmering with curiosity. Claire hesitated for a moment, searching for the right words. "Well, I used to love painting before life got so busy. It was my escape." "Art? That's amazing." Jake leaned closer, genuinely intrigued. "What do you like to paint?" "Mostly landscapes or abstract pieces. It's therapeutic, you know," she said, her eyes lighting up as she spoke about her passion. "I haven't picked up a brush in ages, though. Maybe we could have an art night? Just the two of us," he suggested, a playful grin spreading across his face. "I'll bring the wine, and you can teach me how to create a masterpiece." Claire laughed, the idea filling her with warmth. "I'm not sure how much help I'd be, but that sounds like fun." "Then it's a date," Jake declared, his smile infectious. As the evening wore on, the atmosphere shifted slightly as Jake leaned back in his chair, studying her with a thoughtful expression. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure," Claire replied, a hint of apprehension creeping in. "What are you most afraid of when it comes to dating again?" His question hung in the air, heavy with significance. Claire took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his inquiry. "I guess I'm afraid of getting hurt again, losing myself in someone else. Noah's my priority, and I don't want to disrupt our lives." Jake's gaze softened. "I can understand that. But you deserve happiness too, Claire. It's okay to let someone in." His words struck a chord, and Claire felt her heart tremble with the weight of longing and fear. "It's hard. I've built these walls to protect us. It's easier to stay safe." Jake reached across the table, his fingers brushing against hers, sending a jolt of electricity through her. "But what if opening up allows for something beautiful? Something that enhances your life instead of complicating it?" Claire's breath caught in her throat. She could feel the chemistry between them, a magnetic pull that was impossible to ignore. "You make it sound so easy," she murmured, her heart racing. "Nothing worth having ever is easy," he said softly, his gaze unwavering. "But if you're willing to take a chance, I promise to respect your boundaries. You're not alone in this." Tension crackled in the air, a powerful connection that left Claire breathless. Just then, the cafe door swung open, and a gust of cold wind swept through the room. She felt an involuntary shiver run down her spine, and Jake's hand instinctively slipped back to his side. "Let's order some coffee," he suggested, breaking the moment. "I'll get us both something warm." "Thanks, that'd be great," Claire replied, feeling both relieved and disappointed as he stood to head toward the counter. Watching him walk away, she couldn't help but admire how effortlessly charming he was, the way he carried himself. Her thoughts spiraled as she considered whether her life could accommodate someone like him. Would Noah accept Jake into their world? The idea both thrilled and terrified her. When Jake returned with steaming cups, the air felt charged with the unspoken tension that had lingered between them. "Here you go," he said, placing the cup in front of her. "How do you take it?" "Just a splash of cream, please," she replied, taking a sip and savoring the warmth that spread through her. "Oh, good. I'm glad you like it," he said, his voice low and inviting. "So, what's next for you? Any plans for the weekend?" "Nothing concrete," Claire replied, trailing off as she glanced around, the familiarity of the cafe bringing comfort. "Just spending time with Noah, I suppose. Maybe a trip to the art museum? Or a park day?" Jake suggested, his enthusiasm evident. "I know a great spot with an amazing view." Her heart fluttered at the idea. That sounds lovely. I think he'd love it. Jake leaned closer, his expression earnest. It would be a great opportunity for all of us to hang out. I mean, to get to know each other outside of the cafe. Claire couldn't help but smile, feeling a wave of warmth wash over her at the thought of their lives intertwining. Let's do it then. She agreed, her heart racing with anticipation. Just as they were about to continue their conversation, Claire's phone buzzed. She fished it out, glancing at the screen. It was a text from her babysitter, reminding her that she needed to pick up Noah early. "Sorry, I need to go," she said, a hint of disappointment creeping into her voice. "Of course," Jake replied, his expression shifting to one of understanding. "Family first." Just as she gathered her things, Noah's name echoed through her mind, and she felt torn between the responsibilities of motherhood and the thrill of possibility that Jake represented. "I'll text you about the museum," Jake said, standing up and helping her with her coat. Their bodies brushed against each other, sending a rush of warmth through her. "Definitely," Claire replied, her heart hammering as she stepped outside into the crisp night air. As they walked toward the door, Jake turned to her, his expression serious yet soft. "I really enjoyed tonight, Claire. I hope it's the first of many conversations." "Me too," she said, a smile breaking across her face. "Thank you for understanding." "Always," he promised. And for a fleeting moment, Claire could feel the weight of possibility pressing down on her. As she stepped outside, her heart raced, torn between excitement and fear. She felt Jake's gaze lingering on her, a hint of yearning in the air. But reality loomed large in her mind. "Good night, Jake," she said softly, her heart heavy with the choice laid out before her. "Good night, Claire. I'll be waiting for your text," he called, watching her with a mix of hope and longing. As Claire walked away, she could feel the tension of the evening coiling around her like a soft embrace. The moon hung high, casting a silver glow over the city, and for the